Yes. Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Welcome and welcome, Mirjam.
Yay.
So good to have you here. So hi, everyone. What we're doing today, what Mirjam has agreed to do is to share everything, spill all the beans about what it is actually like when you step into Invoke Your Client's Magic, our soul-based coaching certification program. Because I know people have lots of questions, and what better person to hear it from than someone who's just been going through. So Mirjam, you're just at the end of it, right? We just have our last celebration call,
Yeah.
and then the whole year is done.
Yeah.
Of course, then it's only just the beginning at the same time. But
yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. So okay, what is it actually like when you join Invoke?
A journey. It's a journey. It really is a journey. And for me, it really, I got really drawn in, also really into all the wonder and all the beauty and all the wow, what is this? And I was so, especially in the beginning, I was so excited about all these new things and all the possibilities and all the depth we could establish with these simple questions. So that was like really, I knew there were only a few, and I was like, how can you make a whole course about this? And but now I'm thinking I could do 3 years on this and still learn every day. So there's so much depth to it. So for me in the beginning, it was really like this, wow, I'm Alice in Wonderland experience. And I think more recently, more towards the end, I'm really starting to drop in to the really to the yin quality, to the yin quality of being, and to really deeply understanding this work. So that is really my journey. It's like it went from pure excitement and wonder and just wanted to soak up as much as possible to this
and we can see the kind of quality to that. Yeah. And I remember the Alice in Wonderland metaphor that surfaced pretty early on for you, and it's such
it was
it's such a beautiful metaphor because it speaks to it's like there's like a magical quality to it, but it's also like there's a whole new world opening up. That is like, it's almost like how come we never knew about this? But it's like it just lives right here, right now, in you and me, inside everyone. And just kind of, that metaphor speaks so beautifully about like that portal that then opens up.
And that was exactly how I experienced it, because it wasn't why did I never knew about this? How did I not know that this was also a possibility?
I sometimes feel like we have like a map to Atlantis or something, like
exactly.
part of the world. It's just part of the world, but just people have forgotten that
it sounds
exists.
Weird, right? And it's not that I didn't travel inwards before, but this was a whole new level. So
you want to say something about that? Because I think part of your background is also in journeying with mushrooms, for example.
Yes, exactly.
And so I think there's an overlap there for you. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So when you work with plant medicine, you go inwards and you really do an inner journey. You travel to landscapes you normally cannot access because they're in your subconscious. And for me, soul-based coaching feels very much like that. You go into your subconscious, you travel, and you use a different way of talking to your subconscious. So you don't use your normal mind language because that's inadequate. But you go into all these sort of metaphors and visuals and images and stories, and they have so much knowledge which our mind doesn't really comprehend. And sometimes I feel like it's the mind thinks, oh, but we're just telling some children's stories inside. That's safe. I don't have to worry about all of this. So it's almost like you can. That's the way to put it aside, allowing you to really go into your inner world.
Oh, I like that metaphor. Yeah, that does make sense. It's like, it's all good. It's all good. We're just playing here, and then all of a sudden.
With soul-based coaching, we do it like that, right? It's almost like we lull the mind into, no, this is fine. This is nothing exciting happening. And with a mushroom journey, you really just switch off the mind, right? It's like you bypass it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the same type of experience for me. Yeah.
Yeah, similar field.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh God, this is a whole topic in itself. We'll come back to this because it's super interesting.
It's super interesting. Yeah.
And so let's kind of go to the very practical landing in Invoke, because of course it is, there's like stuff online, content to kind of read and watch every week, and then you meet in the live pod sessions. Do you want to share about what your experience has been like on that kind of practical level and how you kind of found your way through?
Yeah, so indeed, we have these weekly sessions where you meet with your pod. So I was in a morning pod, in a morning group. And indeed, and then besides that, there was like the videos and reading materials. And especially in the beginning, I was sometimes struggling to keep up because it sort of was so much. And it always sometimes felt like I was lagging behind and sometimes it was on top. But these group sessions, they always sort of make me come home again. And it's also a little bit of letting go that you don't understand everything straight away, and it will come. So that was also like sometimes it was like, ooh, I'm behind, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, I catch up again, and like so it's like this constant movement. And yeah, these experiences with our pod were wonderful. We bonded as a group so much, and of course outside of the sessions we practiced a lot. And so it actually was. I also put myself fully into it, but it was quite a lot of hours in the week I spent on soul-based coaching, reading everything, watching the videos and having all the practice sessions. But I love that diving into the material.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to realize for people that are watching that we always say that like the bare minimum that you can expect to put into this is 4 hours a week, but then there is, of course, if you want to practice more, like I know that you've been doing, there's more hours that you can spend. And I think it ties in with what you said earlier about how can you have a whole year on just this. It's like the learning of like the videos and the reading materials. It's an iterative process where we keep on kind of adding a new layer. And the meaning of those layers, some of them will be super easy to kind of, your system will kind of go, yeah. And exactly. For some of them, it'll go like, I'm not sure. It's kind of like, it needs a little bit of time to kind of find its way. And it's one of the reasons why, I still learn when I go through each round of Invoke, like, after all these years, because there's these layers interact with one another, and it's like things start to open up over time as well. So there's a quality of, I think when I first got in touch with this work, there was a sense of like, I know there's more that's happening here. But I can't quite reach it yet. I can't quite understand. It's like I can't quite touch it yet. But there's like an invitation to also lean back and let go, so that those layers can start to show themselves. Is that related to what you were saying about how you felt over the journey, like from that kind of like, wow, magic world into the, I feel like I'm dropping in much more
absolutely now? Yeah, I'm starting to, from really the mind being like, woo, and wanting to understand and wanting to soak everything up now, is really like my whole system is sort of starting to dip into everything. And I'm embodying much more the spirit of soul-based coaching, which is, for me, it feels very much like a yin quality, but with the yang in it. So I think it has to be this perfect balance between yin and yang, where you are like open and leaning in, but still being very active and alert. Because there's in these sessions and in general in life, I feel we have to have that alertness to things happening and the sort of crystal clearness. But the yin is really like soft and gentle and calm, but they strengthen each other.
Yeah, it's beautiful when you say it like that. It makes me think of how in a way through this work we're recalibrating how people are relating to both the yin and the yang, so that they can work together really beautifully, and not just be in the mind-led kind of yang, kind of like go get kind of energy. Gorgeous. So Mirjam, what was the most challenging part of Invoke for you, if you want to share with us?
I think the transition from the yang to the yin. So from my do, I just soak everything up, but then the transition to really drop into it. And it wasn't necessarily hard as in challenging, but there is resistance in it. And it's for me, it really took a conscious effort to make that step into it. So that's, I think, the most, was the hardest part, in the sense of hardest to grasp. There were parts before when there was just resistance about some of the questions or the structure, and that's, why does this work? How does it work? And I feel uncomfortable asking these questions. But this is the real hard work, where you really have to sort of allow yourself to drop into all of this. And that's really, for my mind, or for my system, it's really like, oh, how does that work? What do I do here?
How does it's like is it related to that question of like, what do I do to let go? It's like I want to learn to let go, but what do I do?
Yes, indeed. It's the doing. It's from the doing to the not doing, and then trusting that is enough. Yeah,
and through the lens of the doing, like that's a really difficult thing to do, but from the lens of the not doing, that's a very easy thing to do. Exactly, but we're so familiar with that lens of the doing that there is like an unfamiliarity there.
Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned the resistance, because I can promise anyone who's joining that you'll meet resistance at some point in yourself. Oh, maybe more than one point. You wanna share about what that has meant for you, meeting that.
So in the beginning, there was mainly resistance against the sort of questions and being uncomfortable asking. And it's one thing to ask these questions within our group, because we all knew we were practicing with these type of questions, but then having to relate to people I know outside with these questions felt very uncomfortable, because it's almost like, this is not my normal way of doing. I'm sort of like, do I play a role, or is this what is this? So is that this? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe the fear of looking weird, or being a bit of a weirdo with these things. But it's that was interesting. It was just interesting to observe and to experience, and to just, in the beginning, also give myself a little bit of space with it. So maybe not be as clean with the questions, but now I have to be clean. It's like I cannot do anything else anymore. It's like you have these habits and you cannot get away from it anymore.
And what happened to the resistance now that the habits are here?
For that, it's completely gone, because I see how it works.
You see what the benefits are.
Yeah. And then I think there was also some resistance as to, can I really do this? Can I be which I think again was in the transition from the yang to the yin. Because the yang is really like doing, I'm doing this, and then like, can I really drop into all of this, and can I do this sort of work? And there's this realization, and this is something which it's becoming so clear recently, that if we have a desire for something, which is exactly what Soul Based Coaches teaches us, that if there's a desire to want to be like that, then the system will follow, and it will sort of solve the obstacles. But that realization that you can work from a place of desire and wanting something, or really, it's desire. It's really this desire to want to be in a place, or to want to experience something. Instead of looking, no, I have to work harder, I have to work harder, I have to work harder to get it, and then I'll get it. So there's heads down, and then I'll get it. But no, I wanna go there, and then it's almost like you're being pulled in that direction.
Lovely. Yeah. I think I love that we're talking about resistance, because in the in the young mindset, resistance is bad, right? It needs it's a sign something is bad. And I think the way that we look at it is that resistance has a very healthy function in any system. And here, in learning this work, so often resistance is about it's part of the guardians of the threshold. It's part of the forces that want to kind of keep us in the terrain that is known, right? And therefore we think safe. But it's like and so because we're really shifting paradigms here, that's not just something that we say on the website. This work really does require us to shift paradigm on the inside as well, and how we then interact with our clients. And I think with that shift of paradigm, it's almost like if there wouldn't be any resistance popping up, it mean that we're actually not crossing boundary.
Yes.
So there's like it is part of this part of the journey. Just like joy and connection and elation and wonder and awe are also all part of the journey. And confusion
also
confusion is the doorway into new knowing. All of that is part of it. So it's, in that sense, it's just like life.
But indeed, it's resistance is like ooh resistance. Interesting.
Like,
interesting.
This is where the good stuff starts to happen. Hey, and who should not join this program, or when should people not join?
I'm not sure. I think you have to be ready, because it is really a journey. And I would say technically everybody can join, but if you really want to reap the benefits, you need to be ready. I think you need to be ready to do this sort of work, are you willing to go into this transformational process? And are you willing to also spend the time on it? And so if you feel this is just another thing you can reach, which is like another tick in the box for you to do, then I don't think this is for you, because this is a way of becoming. It's not a course, a coaching education you do and then you're done. So I really feel it's about that. It's really about, are you really ready to step into this different way of being? Do you dare?
And how would you describe the different way of being?
It's going out of the doing, so feeling that everything can be resolved by doing something, to becoming much more who you are and daring to trust in that. It's difficult. I find it even difficult to explain, because it's like one of these things on the level below the head. Yes.
And so I like what you say about how it is a way of becoming. And I think, even though we say that this program has a big impact on personal development and your relationship with yourself, we still hear back from all of our participants that the level in which they have become more themselves has exceeded their expectations by so much. And so I think that way of becoming is often a way of coming back to who we are in our essence. And so it's not like this always be a coaching way of being kind of thing, like, and then we kind of tick the boxes. No, it's you becoming more of you, and learning how to help others become more of themselves. Process, I think.
And I'm thinking a little bit more about your question, who shouldn't do it? And I think it's actually, I just had a really little realization back when I started. I actually found it difficult to really, because it's a very intimate process. We're really opening ourselves, the inside, we're opening up something inside ourselves which we haven't even seen ourselves. You cannot do anything more intimate than that.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was a bit like, ooh, can I do this? Do I want to do this? And I did. And I was very glad I could, and I did. But I think you need to be willing and able to do that.
That is beautiful. It reminds me of I've done my fair share of therapy over my life, but I remember some of the moments when I was in like the deepest places. It's been a long time, but still these things, can't really forget about them, or I mean they made a lasting impression. But in some of the darkest places there was this fear of I can't really reveal all those things about myself without kind of having gone through like, is that okay? Are they not going to take this any wrong way? Or is this like, am I revealing something here which makes me, I don't know, less worthy, or whatever my subconscious fears around that were. And here in this process, I think you're absolutely right. We're asking our clients to go somewhere that they actually haven't been to before inside of us, and to share that with us. And we are completely free of judgment and outcome, in the sense that we don't have any ideas about what life should look like on the inside of anybody. But it does take a certain amount of courage and a certain amount of centeredness to feel like, oh yeah, I can do that. I'm curious about what's here.
And a willingness. I think it's the willingness. Are you really willing to go there?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And to explore that deeply. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this is the kind of work that you can't do on the surface. So when you're entering the program, you cannot just skirt the surface of your own stuff. It's impossible.
No.
And I think
you cannot say I want to be a coach, I want to learn this technique.
And I'll just go.
But I don't want this work to be done on me.
It's like I'll only go this far. Like I'll just approach it from this. Like it's impossible. And I think it speaks to the integrity of the process that we teach, that this is literally impossible, because you cannot be in a soul-based coaching session without actually tapping into these parts of yourself that you haven't seen in this way yet. And yes, that is something that you have to be willing to do, but also, like, I would say, feel excited to do, because this is where the gold and the magic can happen. Beautiful. Right. Let's start wrapping up as well. Is there anything else that people need to know when they're thinking about joining Invoke?
Yeah, I think when you want to join Invoke. For me, I had no idea what I was getting. I always say that I have no idea what I was getting into, but I knew this was where I had to go. So I think if you really feel this is for you, then it's for you. And I don't think the mind can actually do anything with all of this. You shouldn't allow your mind to watch this process, I think. Because for me, it was really a soul knowing. I knew it just pulled me, and I felt I had to do it. The only mind involvement was, can I pay it, and do I have the time for it? And that was it. That was the only thing that was interesting. Yeah.
And for the mind as well, yes, you will learn to use and develop very solid coaching skills.
Absolutely.
So yes, that is kind of like,
absolutely.
Without any questions.
More so than for me, more so than in a regular coaching training. Because you learn a form of deep listening here, and not acting. That is really working with whatever the client really brings to the table, which I haven't learned before. So yes.
It's another juicy topic that we might come back to at some point.
Absolutely,
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mirjam. If you have anybody watching, if you have any questions for Mirjam, for any of us, let us know in the comments or send us a personal message. And we'll see you soon, Mirjam.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.